Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening so far. And Jerome, let Sharon know she definitely helped me because she's always sending suggestions of how to make the show experience a little better. And she said, just, like get some more light on the green screen. So now you can see I don't have so much of that bubbling up on either side of me because I lit it up like a Christmas tree, which is what you're supposed to do with the green screen to make it look right. So as you can see behind me, it says subscribe to our channel. So channel, subscribe to our channel. So gotta make sure it doesn't give off the wrong message when I block it like that. Yes, it's time to get our DrewTube on. Thanks, Patty. Thanks for showing up. Jerome for staying up so late. Appreciate that. Everybody staying up late because I know there's some people in the UK. I think Mal Coyote said you're in the UK. I get a lot of people from the UK. I love that because they see things. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm primarily English and Scottish. That's why we look at things a little bit different, kind of like the way crimes are looked at. Sometimes just a little bit different than some of the mainstream Americans. Thanks, Patty. Does it sound good? Is the mic actually on? Mild Cody says it's 2 a.m. So what you got? They said El Coyote was the last place Sharon Tate had dinner, and Trump says that's correct. I didn't know that. That's interesting for sure. I didn't see Once Upon a Time in L.A. I know it had the Manson theme going through it, and I have not seen that movie. I should have because my buddy's in that movie, Lou Temple, who plays Land Pirate Lou, and Once Upon a Time in L.A. And Tarantino wrote that part just for Lou, so that was pretty cool. So at some point, I need to watch that movie. I guess it's kind of bad I didn't watch most of Lou's stuff, and he's also in The Walking Dead, which is pretty awesome. But thanks for staying up late, Jerome. You missed the Zodiac show that went on for quite a while. Ned was on here with us for a while, so that was cool. And I know Ned's going to have a new video coming out tomorrow night. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be doing Ross's show over at Planet X Films because he wanted to do DB Cooper after reading Paratrooper of Fortune. So he wants to go through that whole thing with me on his show. Hey, Red Feather, and that will be on YouTube. On if you just look up Planet X Films, and Ross is the guy that does a lot of the non-canonical Zodiac stuff, and then he also does movie reviews and all kinds of cool things. But Ross is cool, and that should be fun. I always get screwed up when I have to go back and retell the DB Cooper story. I always leave like something important out when I retell it, like there was a plane involved. I'll just get into a guy walked through the terminal at the airport and handed a briefcase, or I had a briefcase with a bomb in it, and failed to mention it was had an airplane involved. So I don't know, maybe I'll just slow down and try to get it right for once instead of just reading it. But that's going to be tomorrow at, not this time, I think 7:30 Central, but I'll try to post something for it, or maybe Ross will put out a reminder for that over on Planet X Films. But that's tomorrow, Monday night, so it should be good. Doing DB Cooper again. So I missed this, just a couple little postscripts from the last show. I know we talked about the sea waters a little bit, and I had a little back and forth with good old Swanky. And I like Swanky. Swanky, you're a good guy. You're a fun guy to disagree with, and I don't want everybody to always agree with me. I really don't. It doesn't make it fun. I mean, it's good to be challenged on different things, or people that hold different point of views. And I have friends that have different theories on everything. Professor Horn's a good friend of mine, and obviously he has the hoax theory, and we're still friends. So it doesn't like everybody has to agree on everything with Zodiac or DB Cooper for that matter. One guy I cooperate with, Nikki, a lot on DB Cooper. He's got his own suspect in and James Klansnick, and we don't fight over it. Oh, who's better, Braden or him? There's just no need. I mean, we enjoy the case. That's all that matters. If you enjoy the case, you can share things on it. He's brought things, for me that helped Braden as a suspect. And it's just cool. It's just liking the case and sharing information. I mean, you don't always have to verbatim agree with it, every word somebody says, or every theory, every finding. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. Yeah, Cooper's a good deal. So anyway, we were talking about, yeah, it's always a plus to debate. It really is. It's not a bad deal, and it makes you sharper too. I mean, when somebody kind of puts up a challenge for you, like, what about this? How do you explain that? And when you go through all that, it makes you a better a better debater, a better, you can argue your points a little bit better. And sometimes you have to cede a point to someone like, yeah, you're right. I don't have an answer for that. You make a good point, and then you go on to the next thing, and just, try to figure it out together is my kind of thing. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in my own theories. I do. I know I come off that way. It's kind of hard not to, but I don't mean to, but it's just I've got pretty strong beliefs in my own theory. If I'm ever proven wrong, I'll say, okay, I'm wrong. But it's just, you don't want to seem not confident in your theories, but you also want to stand firm in them too, to have that confidence that you did your research and know things. Like, that's why I like to know all the suspects in any of these cases as well as I can. If I'm going to pick a suspect, I better know who everybody else's is, and know the big things about them, because if somebody's over here got, whoa, I didn't know you had that, you need to know that. So I know one particular Zodiac researcher took issue with me on that, and I don't know why, because I don't see it that way. But anyway, I talked about the Seawaters a little bit. I think I screwed up when I said something about did Arthur Lee Allen molest the boys too. I mean, that none of that's important to where I was going with any of that anyway. I just mentioned it because it's in the video, but I was wrong. Arthur Lee Allen said that he did not. He told Seawater that he did not molest them, and he kind of said, well, I don't think he did, but maybe he did, or something like that. But Arthur Lee Allen said that he did not do that to the boys, but just to the sister. So, I mean, I just wanted to clear the record on that, because it doesn't have anything to do with where I was going with it. I just want to be right about it. And like I said, if you want to hear it from the horse's mouth, go watch the videos. I mean, they're entertaining. They knew the guy. I'm interested in Arthur Lee Allen, so I'm gonna watch him. I subscribe. So there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, open mind, collect your facts. Sure. You can eliminate everybody but Ted. Yeah, pretty much. But I can't put Ted Braden on the plane. I can't. Nobody can put their guy on the plane. I can't put Ted on the plane. It'd be great if Tina Mucklow came forward and said, that's him. I mean, as far as I know, and I've been asked, I don't, to my knowledge, none of the flight crew or passengers ever saw pictures of Ted Braden, unless the FBI did it and never told anybody. We know they looked at pictures of Richard Floyd McCoy. We definitely know Tina Mucklow looked at pictures of Robert Rackstraw and quickly ruled them out. So there's issues like that where we definitively know who looked at different photos of DB Cooper suspects, but to my knowledge, they never saw pictures of Ted Braden. So moving on, I did not get to discuss what I wanted to do yesterday after the Zodiac, was talk about the Amazon review killer. And here's a picture of this guy. It's funny. His name's Todd Colehep, and hopefully I'm not like totally butchering that. It's he is the guy that's known as the Amazon review killer. And this is viewer suggested to copy this. It's the way he spells his name is Kohlhepp. So it's Colehep. I think that's the correct way of saying his name. And here's a picture of him versus the composite sketch. And this is funny because you always go back to Cooper, we talk about a lot, in Zodiac. This guy looks nothing like this sketch. I mean, this is like one of the most far off comparisons I've ever seen with this dude. I mean, he looks absolutely, he's got light hair. I mean, the nose, I mean, this is comical. And I mean, this is supposed to be a professional police artist sketch, and they look nothing like each other. So, I don't know why people put so much stock in sketches. They do. They put everything in there. It's like Ross Sullivan and Zodiac. He looks like the sketch. 70% of white males look like the Zodiac Killer sketch back in 1969. So people keep that in mind. But anyway, I want to read a little bit about the Amazon review killer, because it is interesting. This is definitely different. It says the serial killer who allegedly left Amazon reviews for his weapons. And I'm reading this from Grunge. It says, some of the most dangerous serial killers are so good at covering up what they do that it could take years or even decades before they are successfully identified and tied to their crimes. They can blend in with the general public as successful professionals, and they can even be involved with charitable causes to make themselves look like upstanding citizens who wouldn't hurt a fly. It's their ability to keep up this charade that makes them so scary, but in most cases, they eventually get caught and brought to justice. Thank God for that. Then you've got serial killers or criminals in general who get sloppy when it turns out they can't shut up about their crimes. When the people they tell their stories to run to the cops and spill the beans, as a concerned citizen should, it's usually game over for the criminal. However, there is one specific serial killer who allegedly took an unusual route when bragging about his actions. Apparently, he took to Amazon to leave short, disturbing reviews for the products he ordered, including some potential murder weapons. Now, this hasn't been confirmed, and the discovery was made after this guy was arrested, but it is interesting to note that someone who purportedly used this guy's name, it's Todd Colehep, to leave these reviews on Amazon and he was, obviously taunting authorities. So you kind of have like that a bit of a, Zodiac killer comparison there. But here's the background of the story. On November 3rd, 2016, in Woodruff, South Carolina, Todd Colehep was arrested after authorities rescued a missing woman named Kayla Brown and also discovered the lifeless body of her boyfriend, Charles Carver, on his property. Shortly thereafter, he also confessed to a quadruple murder that took place 13 years prior when he shot and killed 4 people at a Chesney, South Carolina motorcycle shop. That wasn't the only shocking revelation about the convicted serial killer, as Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office investigators found that in May 2014, around the same time he purchased his wooded property, an Amazon user known as Me started leaving product reviews for items he purchased on the website. Quite notably, the user's wish list was linked to an individual named Todd Colehep. So it wasn't just the timing of these murders lining up with the weapons. It was linked to the guy, someone using his name, which somebody could have spoofed that, but it doesn't look likely in this case. I'm fairly confident it was Colehep that was leaving these Amazon reviews, which is just, it's definitely taunting, and you can't catch me. Like I said, kind of reminiscent of Zodiac in that respect. It says, when he left, it says, keep on keeping the dream alive. When I do it, it'll be with a quality tool like this. And I'm going to show some of the different things that he left on Amazon about these weapons. Here's one right here. And let me put this on the full screen. So here's one, and this one's near and dear to me because it is a SOG entrenching tool, F08N. Of course, SOG stands for Studies and Observations Group, the elite special forces unit from Vietnam that Ted Braden was in. And people market things under SOG because it was so popular when people learned about the Studies and Observations Group from Vietnam. So this is a SOG item. I actually have a SOG tool on my keychain. So that's what that stands for, is the Vietnam Special Forces stuff. I don't know where the money goes or who got to coin that brand, but that's what it's for. But you see here, it's a folding shovel like you'd have something in Vietnam. And it says, keep in car for when you have to hide. It says, keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home. Does not come with a midget, which would have been nice. So look at this guy. He thinks he's funny talking about having a midget with him, but he's talking about this tool. So obviously he's implying that he used this little tool to dig a grave for somebody that he murdered. So this is just one sick dude. I'm going to put up another one here. This is for a chainsaw. The Husqvarna. You can tell I'm not too much of an outdoor woodsman here, but it's a Husqvarna 455 Rancher 20-inch, 55-inch, 1.5 cc 2-stroke gas powered chainsaw. And he put, works excellent. Getting the neighbor to stand still while you chase him with it is hard enough without having an easy to use chainsaw. So this guy is out of his mind. And I believe it was confirmed that he did use these exact items. He bought it. Obviously, that's why he's able to leave the reviews on Amazon. So there's one, the chainsaw. Then he used the SOG shovel. And I think there was a couple other things that this dude used to commit these murders. So this is one sick individual. And this is the neighbor's reaction, actually. But no, I just added that. But one sick guy, okay? And I definitely believe he's the one leaving these things and not just somebody, making fun of it because that's one sick joke. And it says aside from these items, there were other few ostensibly benign products that were also reviewed by the mystery user who mentioned Todd Kohlhepp on their wish list. According to Greenville News, these included dog toys, electronics, and music products, and the Walking Dead DVDs. It's funny, I just mentioned Walking Dead because my friend Lou Temple was in that show. He played Axel. Given how kidnapping victim Kayla Brown was found in prison in a metal storage container, one review seemed especially telling as the Amazon user wrote the following about a padlock. Solid locks have 5 on a shipping container, won't stop them, but sure will slow them down till they are too old to care. A second padlock review had them musing about how their place is a Hotel California now, a reference to the last line of the Eagles' signature hit, which goes, "You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave." I mean, this was one sick dude. Likewise, apparent Kohlhepp murder victim Charles Carver allegedly quoted the entire final verse of Hotel California in a suspicious Facebook post that was made over a month after he and Brown disappeared. Man, I didn't read that before. That is crazy. I mean, I guess the search in there is Kohlhepp got a hold of the guy's Facebook page and was inserting these Eagles lyrics. This is one really twisted guy. I wonder if anybody's ever written a book about this case. I mean, it's written about a lot. I never heard about it. So I think it was it Pixie that brought this one up to me, but this is fascinating. So thanks for bringing it up. Uh, Jerome says, Drew, I sent you an Amazon review on your messenger. You can share it live if you want. Thanks, Jerome. I will. And it says, though it's not precisely clear what goes into making a serial killer, it is more than apparent that the United States has abundance of them. You might be saying, isn't anything more than a zero of an abundance when it comes to people who single out and murder multiple victims over a large enough span of time? To which the answer is yes, but one doesn't even start to make a dent in the county's overall list. Sure, serial killings make up a minute percentage of the murders that happen every day in the U.S., but it hasn't stopped our modern culture from turning these criminals into obsession. Well, that's true. That's why it's the whole true crime industry. Let me see, Jerome. Jerome sent another review. You and Sharon are just helping me out all over the place, Jerome. You're my wee assistants. Okay, Jerome sent another one. That's a review of my book, or whatever you're saying, Jerome. I'm not sure. It says this is the book on the Zodiac Killer. It's very, very well researched. I cannot recommend this book enough. Thanks, Jerome. Yeah, Sharon is the best. She is the greatest. Um, the greatest thing to come out of Scotland since the band Big Country. So I've got another picture here. Why isn't my camera working? So here's another picture of it's probably not even up yet. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that's up. So this is the lady that he had chained up in his basement. I mean, this real creepy thing right here. And there's Kohlhepp over here. He was I think this is during the time that it happened. But when you see him in pictures in prison now, he's like doubled in size. I mean, this guy's huge. He should be leaving reviews at Grubhub because he's like doubled if you looked at the other pictures from him. But this is the same guy. I mean, now he's like massive. So I don't know. They're feeding this guy well over in the joint. And but just strange. I mean, there's these strange reviews he left. Twisted guy, the sog shovel. Here he is again. I mean, I don't know. He's just a one real sick guy. But I want to dig into that. Yeah, that picture is that's going to give me nightmares for sure. There's a fire pixie. I want to put that up. Hold on. She says there's an interview from prison with him. I can't remember who it's with, but the entire thing is so cringe. He has always been such a pompous ass. Yeah, he definitely comes off that way. I mean, to put the reviews on Amazon and talk about it like that, he acted like he was never going to get caught. I mean, this is like he flaunted like the Zodiac, but this guy went down. He wasn't as smart as he thought, or he didn't care. I don't know. This guy is seriously screwed up. I mean, he did the other murders, and then he goes ahead and commits more with this couple, and then tortured the lady chained up, gets on the boyfriend's Facebook and does the whole Eagles thing. This dude is one sick demon from hell. So he definitely I'm glad you brought this case up because I'd never heard about it before. But this guy, yeah, I'm convinced he's the one leaving the reviews on Amazon. Do you know where this creepy guy is coming from? I don't know what you mean, Jerome. This guy was in South Carolina, uh, where all kind of freaky things happen. I lived in South Carolina for a while, and there's lots of rural land out there to do all kind of evil deeds on. So it's just kind of scary because it's you know so spread out. No one can hear people scream out there when these guys capture these people. They get chained up and they don't find them for years. So it's just really scary. So yeah, that's kind of just a quick background on the whole Amazon review killer, Todd Colehep, and just one sick guy. And then I also want to cover. It's okay, Sharon. You're the one that helped with the lighting. Look at the green screen, Sharon. Let me put this up again. See, we'll put you up. Damn it, fell asleep again. Sorry, Drew. That's okay, Sharon, because you help with the green screen. Look how well lit it is, and I don't have all the bubbling up now. You were a big help with that. See, look, you got a little bit of the halo going around my head, but I don't have all the fish tank percolization going on my right and left, and it takes just a ton. Like it takes a ton of light. Patty, if Forbes-town were a state, it would be South Carolina. I gotta put that up. If Forbes-town were a state, it would be South Carolina. Yeah, that's scary. And South Carolina's not that. It's kind of hilly in the northern part, a little bit when you're getting into North Carolina, but nothing is as creepy as Forbes-town. And that reminds me, UC Davis Aggies. No, not Texas A&M Aggies. UC Davis Aggies for the boys, the Yuba County Five. And I think I'm gonna have Tony on. I'm gonna have Tony Doug Wright be a guest on the show, and obviously I want to have Jerome on and Ned on and everybody. But Tony Doug Wright's definitely gonna be in there. Fire Pixie said he also killed another couple, Johnny and Megan Coxey, before Kayla and Charlie. So I guess that was after the motorcycle shop murders when he killed that other couple, because I didn't read that. I figured it was just that couple and then the murders at the motorcycle shop. And I do know when he killed those people at the motorcycle shop, he just walked in the back like he owned the place. And they had no idea. They knew the guy. I think his girlfriend's mother worked there. He used worked there, had something to do with them. He had some connection to the people at the motorcycle shop. No. And here's what happened. I remember he bought a motorcycle from them and he tried to return it because he never could really learn how to ride the motorcycle. So I think that was kind of his reasoning in wanting to return it. And the dudes at the store laughed. I mean, because the guy had already, he probably laid it down a few times, scratched it up or whatever. And Todd Colehep said, "Hey, I can't even, I don't even know how to ride this thing. I want you to take it back and give me a refund." And the guys there just laughed at him. So it made him so mad. He came back and killed everybody that he could at the motorcycle shop because they laughed at him for not knowing how to ride the bike. So this guy was just waiting to go off. I wouldn't be surprised if he killed more people. Somebody as sick as this dude. Until tomorrow night, I got to show anything. Says Yuba County 5. Yuba County 5. I was reading it yesterday. Appreciate that. There's going to be a great podcast coming out on Yuba County 5. If you haven't read the book, the podcast is going to be fantastic. It's going to be by Mopac Audio, if you look it up, and they're on Instagram under Yuba County 5, and it's going to come out February 24th, which is anniversary day of when the Yuba County 5 went missing. But it's going to have so much detail in it, stuff that I don't even know, and I know a lot about it. And they did just an incredible amount of even more research that was already out there. And of course, I'm a part of it, and I'm interviewed for it. and that's going to be just the ultimate Yuba County 5 exploration. I mean, it's not going to solve it. It's probably going to even make more questions than answers, like this case does. But it will be the tour de force of all things Yuba County 5 is this podcast coming out by Mopac Audio on February 24th. So I'll definitely be advertising that big time before it rolls out, and hopefully it makes the cases bigger than ever. And that when this guy was arrested, I think he was arrested, Jerome Pixie, you might know. I think it was sometime in I thought it was 2006, but I might be wrong. Yeah, 2016. So okay, he was arrested on November 3rd, 2016 for when the police rescued that the lady that's shown in that picture. That's Kayla Brown. They and then they discovered her boyfriend's body. So she was rescued alive. Kayla Brown was, and and the Amazon reviews started being left in 2014. So 2014, Jerome, the Amazon reviews are being left, and then he's arrested in 2016, and this lady was found alive, and the boyfriend was already dead. So I mean, who knows the horrors this woman went through? Just crazy. Glad this guy was dumb enough to get caught. Thank God he was. I mean, this guy was just I don't know. He's crazy. So, well, yeah, I want to cover this case some more, and I will for sure. But I also was going to talk about, as advertised, if I can get this one on the screen. Oh, that worked real well. Let me see if I can. Now I want to talk a little bit because this came up from the guy. I can't remember his name, but he left it in the comment section, not on the live chat, about the people who saw the elk getting sucked up by the UFO, and that obviously makes me think of all things cattle mutilations. And I always go back to Linda Moulton Howe, longtime UFO researcher, and she's literally the person that put uh, cattle mutilations on the map with a video called A Strange Harvest. And I think this came out in 1980. It says 1980 here. She started working on it in 1979. I mean, Linda Moulton Howe, great background. You know, she's been on Coast to Coast AM a lot. She was a TV producer. And when she was first told about the phenomenon, kind of like David Paulides and Missing 411, but when she first started hearing about these cattle mutilations, she had to know more because credible people that she was doing some TV programs with told her about it because she was a medical. She did medical shows about surgeries and stuff like that. So it wasn't a huge leap, but somebody she knew in that line of work with doing TV documentaries told her about these strange cattle mutilations. And back then, I remember Linda Moulton Howe's story was that the camera crew she would work with had battery packs for their TV cameras. You know, I don't know what they do now, but back then you had battery packs, and they didn't have real long lifespans. If you went out to research something out in the mountains or way out, you always had to make sure you had to bring extra battery packs so you had enough battery power to film your segments. And the thing that really put it on the map for her is when she went out with these crews to start investigating these cattle that had been mutilated, the battery packs would not work at all. Even though they'd be brand new, fresh battery packs, they would get to the scene of where these cows were mutilated somehow, and the battery packs would just all their power would be gone. Even though they knew they were fully charged by the time they got there. She said when they got to these mysterious scenes of where these cattle were mutilated, the batteries had no power, and that left this huge impression on her. Like, this is something going on that's out of this, literally out of this world. Like, you know, there's something definitely wrong. I mean, not just the fact that when they found these mutilated animals, it looks like everything was surgically removed. A lot of their intestines, reproductive organs mainly. The reproductive organs are always removed, and it looks like You know, that it looks like it was done a better job than the best surgeons in the world did. There's never any sign of blood, and most importantly, there's never any sign, you know, under a microscope of carbon. And that means it's some kind of technology being used that we just don't have, that's removing the insides of these animals, like cows or elks, the one guy mentioned. So this is strange stuff, but that's how Linda Moulton Howe got on the map, was starting this, and that's what led her to do this documentary back in 1980 called A Strange Harvest. Of course, she's been around a long time after that, does all the UFO conferences and stuff like that, but she got on the scene from the cattle mutilations and doing this fantastic video about it, and is as big a believer in it today as she was back then about what's going on. She definitely believes it's alien. She thinks it's alien technology that are doing this to these animals. I mean, if you think if the aliens are that high tech, one or two would do, but there's mass cattle mutilations all over the globe in North America. She started out, she was living in Denver at the time, and knew one of the county, a guy, the sheriff of one of the counties that was further up in the mountains that she befriended. And he started showing her Polaroid photos of a bull that had been mutilated, and it was a 2,000-pound bull. And she drove 2 hours to go look at the Polaroids of this. I mean, these are back before you could Photoshop stuff. This was 1979, so you didn't really have all that technology. And she looked at 240 actual Polaroids of not just the bull, but some other cows and stuff. But the bull was, was a giant 2,000-pound bull that all the insides were removed. No signs of blood or anything like that. And the weird thing that stuck out to her, the title of her film is right here on. It should be shown on the screen. Hopefully this is working. But it's called A Strange Harvest. Hopefully it's on the screen right now. But this is the title of her film. It's called A Strange Harvest. And the thing that stuck out to her about the bull was there was an indent, big indention where the bull's head was. Like it was like the area under the bull's head had been dug out first, but the rest of the body of the bull was laying perfectly straight. The legs were straight, which was really unusual, having all its insides removed. And what the guy explained to her is that somehow the bull was paralyzed from the neck down to where they could do whatever they wanted as far as removing its insides, but they didn't paralyze the head of the bull. So it was just it kept moving its head while these things are being done to it, and just the movement of the head literally dug a hole under the head. And that could be actually what's on front of this book. Yeah, it does look like a book. This is actually a video. See, it's a VHS, but I think this is actually the photo on the front of that bull where it dug that kind of a hole under its head from moving. So whatever it did incapacitated it from the neck down to where they could remove all this stuff, and the head kept moving. So it left this huge impression on it. Yeah, it's actually the cover for a VHS, Patty. And you could see here the little alien head and all that. And that was like a big deal at the time. Of course, a lot of people wanted to shut it down because they said, hey, this is either whatever's going on is either UFO related or some kind of satanic cult. Well, they quickly rolled out a satanic cult because there's no way these devil worshippers out there are going to be going after all this huge amount of cattle and stuff like that. And being able to do it with the surgical precision and not leaving blood behind, and the carbon, of course. So whatever's being done to these animals is being done with higher technology than we have. It just is. It's crazy. So the person that left the comment was talking about a case that happened in Washington State. And I don't think I could find that exact. I don't think I could find that exact one that he was talking about, but it might be one of these. And it says, a truly bizarre incident from February 1999 near the forest and mountainous terrain of Washington State would see 3 farm workers seemingly witness an attempted alien abduction of an elk, apparently signaled out by the strange aerial craft. I hope this is the case that he was talking about. I think it might be. It is an interesting case for several reasons, not least due to there being multiple witnesses to the encounter. Furthermore, animal and cattle mutilations are known to have been reported in the state of Washington previously. It would appear that this was an animal abduction taking place right in the middle of the day, with multiple people witnessing it to boot. The case remains unexplained today, despite two well established UFO organizations investigating the incident within days of it taking place. Just what happened that gray afternoon in the upper Northwest? And what might it mean in relation to other cases of alien abduction and cattle mutilation? A disc shaped object out of the dull gray sky. Slightly before noon on a gray day on the 25th of February 1999, three state forestry workers would witness an incident that would alter their lives greatly. While planting seeding trees in the woodlands near Mount St. Helens in the upper northwest of the United States, a disc shaped object came into view. It would slowly and calmly enter a valley coming from the north of the three forestry workers' position. As well as the calm manner in which it moved, there apparently a very purposeful nature of its movements. It was also completely silent as it cut through the air, the witnesses noticing a wobble as it did so. It was then that the three men called out to the rest of their crew, 11 more men in total, who were on a hill facing the other way. They would turn around and, along with three initial witnesses, would watch the bizarre scenario unfold. It would become pretty obvious to the forestry crew that the bizarre craft was seemingly moving in the direction of a herd of elk nearby. For their part, the elk continued on as normal, apparently unaware and unconcerned with the approaching anomaly that was quickly, seemingly like an aerial jaws heading towards its prey. Only when the metallic disc was almost on top of the herd did they begin to become agitated and aware of its strange presence. Then an already bizarre incident became even stranger. Separated from the herd, although no one seemed to see the exact circumstances, one of the elk quickly became isolated from the rest of the herd. It was, according to the witnesses, quite obviously an adult elk, so it's possible it was a conscious decision to draw attention away from the others. Whatever the reason, though, the object soon zeroed in on its attention to the separated animal. The members of the forestry work crew watched in disbelief as the object hovered directly over the top of the lone animal. Then the stricken elk seemingly rose into the air as if a pair of huge and invisible hands had lifted it. The wobble of the object would get decisively worse at this stage. The elk, however, would remain firmly in the invisible grip of the bizarre disc-shaped craft. The object began to move upward slightly. As it did so, the elk would rotate under it, while also appearing to get closer to the actual disc itself. Initially, the object, still with the elk hovering below and moving in unison as if suspended by an invisible rope, would head towards the east. However, after first moving back to the west and then performing a complete 360-degree turn, it would begin to ascend, and it would do so at a greatly increased speed than it previously moved. Also, at this stage, the elk was no longer visible, as no one had seen it drop to the ground. It was assumed by the witnesses at this stage that the captured animal must have somehow been taken inside this strange craft. This I never heard of this till someone left a post about it. It said immediate report and investigation. The witnesses would claim that the rest of the elk remained tightly packed together as if for protection. Furthermore, they, whether consciously or not, did the same, working for the remainder of the day within close proximity of each other. On March 1st, just a week later, a report of the incident was made to the National UFO Reporting Center, NUFFORC. They would go out to the location in question. However, New Forks director Pete Davenport would also contact the director of investigations for the MUFON branch in the state of Washington, Robert Fairfax, who would assist in leading the investigation. They would speak to the three main witnesses as well, inspect the location of the sighting for themselves. Furthermore, they would also witness the corpse of an adult and pregnant elk that was discovered along a roadside several miles away by another group of forestry workers. Whether this was the elk that was taken is uncertain. However, it is highly likely that it was. Even stranger, there was no obvious injuries, wounds, or mutations to the elk. As Davenport would state, it was healthy, albeit it was dead. Not even one single broken bone was found from an apparent fall to the ground. It was as if the animal had been placed where it lay or simply lay down of its own accord. Perhaps even stranger, despite other signs of dead animals almost immediately becoming prey to the many wild scavengers of the area, none would seemingly touch the body of the dead elk. despite it laying where it was found for at least 8 days. That is crazy. I'm glad that guy brought this story up because I didn't know this one. A genuine, incredible mystery. Although the incident remains without a full and satisfactory explanation, it remains one of the most intriguing encounters on record, and certainly one that many would agree is credible. For example, the witnesses. Davenport would highlight how some of them had worked for the company in the area for almost 20 years. It wasn't likely that they would risk their jobs to pull a stunt and make up such a drastic story. Furthermore, it was his stern belief that the witnesses were sincere and believable. Further still, although the corporation employing the workers wished to remain anonymous, they would vouch for each of the witnesses' credibility. Perhaps another indication of their genuineness was their insistence to a person that there be no publicity for the incident. Initially, the group was intent on keeping the incident between themselves only. However, when their supervisor saw them later in the day, it was immediately obvious something was wrong. Ultimately, however, he would have to pry it out of him. Some would even go on to state that they had suffered bizarre and persistent nightmares in the weeks that followed. We should also perhaps note, as Davenport does, that the incident occurred on privately owned land. The landowners had been more than happy to allow investigators to access the site. However, they didn't want the location made public. This means, as Davenport states, the lack of detail on the location could be used by skeptics to dismiss the case entirely. So it goes on a little further, but that case is incredible about, they didn't want anything being let out about it. But when you have this coming out, when this first came out by Linda Moulton House, Strange Harvest, and then there's also, she has another, I think her book is actually called Alien Harvest, how it gets even to more detail. And she even proposes in the book that this is what could be happening to some of the missing people that are never found, that they're taking humans up there and maybe being redeposited, because in the missing 411 David Paulides stuff, yeah, it was new to me too, until somebody put it on this channel to check it out. And I think that is the story they were talking about. I think they thought there were more witnesses to it, but I think this is the one that the person was referencing. But she surmises that some of the missing people could be going the way of some of these cattle and elk are. And we do know in the missing 411 phenomenon, they'll find the bodies in places that haven't been searched before. But I've never heard of any of those bodies being found with the insides removed like that. So that would be a definite difference between the elk and the cows and stuff. But I do know there's some over in Africa, and they were, I think they may have been elks as well. Like large amounts would be uh, taken somewhere, the insides removed, and then deposited miles away, like 5 miles, 10 miles, stuff like that, where and up on a higher ridge where there's no way they could have just migrated over there. Something had to have taken them up, done whatever they did, and then dropped them 5 or 10 miles away. And I'll look for that story too. But these are happening all over the world. It's been going on as long as, I mean, probably hundreds of years. It's just Linda Moulton Howe is the first one to write about it and do a documentary on it. She still does many shows about these strange cattle mutilations. Actually, I mentioned where there was cattle mutilations on the Tina Bar, which where the DB Cooper money was found in 1980. And I want to look those newspaper reports up, but there was reported cattle mutilations on the Tina Bar that was owned by the Fazio brothers. They had a sand company. So that's the DB Cooper tie into the whole cattle mutilation stuff. But I'm definitely going to do some more research on that because these are fascinating. I've always been a big fan of Linda Moulton Howe. Been on Coast to Coast quite a bit. You can find her all over YouTube talking about the stuff and what got her into it. But definitely one of the things that I want to get more into and just study more, because there's definitely something really strange going on with these cattle and whatever's going on with them. But at least my green screen is fixed, so I'm happy about that. I'm gonna drop this one in. See, I meant to have this one up the whole time. See where something like this, see the UFO and it's sucking up the cattle in there. I meant to have this background on the whole time, which would have been cool. But Jerome says dog mutation in the Son of Sam case. Dog's mutilation in the Son of Sam case. I don't remember that, Jerome. Did the dog Sam get mutilated? I don't even remember. Oh, because Son of Sam was a dog, right? Or Sam was the owner. Sam was the owner of the German Shepherd, right? Yeah, see the thing getting taken up, but yeah, there's something going on there. So yeah, definitely check out a Strange Harvest video and Alien Harvest, I think is what it's called. He says the DB Cooper money find is the biggest mystery involving DB Cooper. Yes, because we know who DB Cooper was, Ted Braden. And it reminds me, check out Planet X Films tomorrow night with Ross, and we'll be talking about all things Ted Braden. And Pedro, if you're on, or if you catch this later, Pedro, definitely check out Planet X Films and remember to subscribe. And I know I wish I could take a pic like that. I mean, how lucky were they to get the picture of the cow actually getting sucked up? but but that is apparently what's going on. Why they would need so many of these cows? And do you think one would do if they have this advanced technology? Okay, we have its internal organs and we have its reproductive organs. Why do we need so many of these things? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Plane had to be farther west. Yeah, the flight path. I never get into arguing the flight path with DB Cooper. I never. I pretty much believe the known the Victor. There's a Victor. I've been doing. I'm doing too many cases. The Victor 23 flight path, and I've never seen really any much reason to doubt it. It could have been a little more to the west, which would help pick up the help explain what happened at the Tina bar. But with Tom K's diatom research saying they were summer diatoms and not winter. Of course, when Cooper jumped, makes the probability that money was planted extremely high. That money did not get there by natural means. There's just no way. Couldn't have happened. It wasn't a dredge. It wasn't didn't get caught up, or it didn't just flop up on the shoreline. It was planned. A human being planted that money at the Tina bar. There were 3 stacks on top of each other. Maybe Ross and I'll get into that a little bit, but no way in hell that money got there by natural means. It just didn't happen. Someone planted it. Could be a million reasons why. Jerome, in the Son of Sam case, in their investigation, they found the German Shepherd mutilated, and they were looking for Sam Carr. Yeah, now I do. I kind of remember that, and that was so weird. I mean, was it Sam Carr that committed suicide? After the fact, one of the Carr brothers got killed in a car wreck, and then the other committed suicide, where it looked like a suicide with the shotgun. And I think that was in, I don't remember, somewhere in the Midwest. It wasn't back in Yonkers or anything like that. But yeah, that's crazy stuff. I tried to follow Manny Grossman as much as I can, and I know he's all over that case, and he's always talking about the Untermeyer Park and all that stuff. And I'd like to. It's hard to catch up with everything going on, but he does great work on Son of Sam, of course. But if it looks like the same gun, though, it looks like the same gun killed all those guys. Okay. Until tomorrow. What's interesting in the cattle mutilations is that the areas such as the head and neck were invaded, which is just what normal predators do, but the cut areas are precision cut, not chewed. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what's so strange about it. And it doesn't look like animal predation at all. And of course, if animals are ravaging another animal, there's going to be some kind of evidence of that. It's not going to be clean like that. And according to Linda Moulton Howe, when they get them under microscopes, there's no sign of carbon. Like there's something, as Jason said, John Carr was the one who committed suicide. Yeah, that was a strange suicide. So yeah, I want to catch up on some of Manny's stuff for sure. He's been doing some great videos, but it's hard to follow Zodiac and then know everything going on with Son of Sam and Manny stuff. But it's good to know. I don't know if there's this bigger network. I think Ross kind of believes that with the Process Church, it may have been this bigger network of murders going on that can be tied in. I don't see that in Zodiac. I just don't. But maybe some of these other cases, maybe there's a Manson connection to Son of Sam. I don't know. I don't see a Manson connection in Zodiac. Never seen it and never will. Just not a buyer on that. Oh, I said you were mostly young, but you were in New York during Son of Sam. I'm sure that was scary when all the girls were getting their hair cut and stuff because they didn't want to look like the victims. But um, that is really that's really scary. being around at that time. When the murder is out there and you don't know they could strike, and there's a woman that looks like the ones that Son of Sam was going for. Yeah, I definitely believe that Berkowitz had help from the Carr brothers or something. And I think the theory is they were passing the gun around, which could explain that, because it seemed like the same 44 was used in all the murders, and that's definitely the one that Berkowitz had and he got caught with. Massive terror and nervousness. Yeah, I bet. I've definitely talked to a lot of people that were alive during the Zodiac deal, and they recall the buses and going to school, and their mothers taking them to school because the Zodiac threatened to bomb a bus. So they were, that's kind of cool to talk to them and have them recall the horror that the Zodiac wreaked on the Bay Area at the time. And I'm sure the Son of Sam was the same thing when these guys went loose, and just scary stuff. That's all I have for now. Definitely be tuning in tomorrow over at Planet X Films. I'll be doing DB Cooper on Ross's show, and then hopefully something pretty soon after that. But I'm going to follow up on both of these because there's definitely a lot more there. But I hope everybody has a good week. Thanks.